You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Cricket Podcast. So we have a three-part show for you today. We'll be starting off with the Asia Cup, the revenge of Pakistan as they take down India. Then we will talk about England v South Africa, the third and final test of their delicately balanced 1-all series before we end with our summary of the second iteration of the 100. Was the sophomore season a success? I'm Jack Hope. I'm joined by Ross Legg. How you doing, Ross?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks, mate. Good to be back.
And the third man of the original trio, Max Rowe Brown. How you doing, Max?
I assume you're saving the best to last at that point. But yeah, no, very good, Jack. Glad to be here. Glad to see Ross's beaming face after a week off or whatever it was.
Is it best to save the best to last?
Depends, doesn't it? People do that. Like people when they eat dinner, they talk about like some people like to eat their favorite bit straight away, and then some people like to have it at the end so they've got something nice to finish on. But then maybe you get full. Yeah. Ooh, I don't know. Is this better than the last cut we did? I don't know.
Yeah. Generally speaking, I would be somebody who saved one of the good bits of dinner till last. But sometimes you eat too much, and then you're like, fuck.
You fucked it, basically. Yeah.
Anyway, Asia Cup. Let's get straight into the show.
No, can we stay on the culinary delights of the cricket podcast?
We do have a food channel on Discord. So
we do, yeah. Patreon.com/the cricket pod. Max, India took on Pakistan for the second of maybe 3 T20 matches, although as a result of what's happened yesterday, it might not be. India could be crashing out. Can you very briefly summarise what was a classic of the oeuvre? I thought one of the best India-Pakistan.
It really was, wasn't it? It had literally a bit of everything. It was everything you could possibly hope for in an India-Pakistan T20. Started with India batting, and they approached their innings in the completely opposite way to how they've been doing it for the last few months, in that they started really quickly, and then all the people that you'd expect to smack it around a lot at the end actually failed to do that. And the only thing that sort of provided any continuity was Virat Kohli scoring 60 at 136. So some things will never change. He's back. He's back with a vengeance. And they scored 181 for 7, which really should have been about 175. But Pakistan decided just to throw the ball on the floor with the last 2 balls of the innings and give Ravi Bishnoi 8 runs for no reason whatsoever. Flip over to Pakistan, and they approach things much more like you would expect Pakistan. Quite slowly to start with. Rizwan, started slowly, got going, did pretty well. But then they mixed things up. They threw Mohammad Nawaz as a pinch hitter who absolutely bludgeoned 42 of 20 balls to take them within the rate of scoring that they needed at the end, and with a little bit of late hitting from Asif Ali, just to skip over some of the controversial points and other bits of butterfingers that we will cover, no doubt, in a minute. They ended up making it home with 1 ball to spare, and it was a cracker. It was really good.
It was good. Players are super into it. I don't know, just before, I don't know where we want to go first with our analysis, but the Pakistan Cricket Board released a video from inside the changing room of the Pakistan team, and they were really amped up about it. But they were doing also like the sort of thing that you do if you're in a close club cricket match, like people just walking in a circle for no reason, shouting it's all in Urdu or whatever. So I have no idea what they're saying, but it's just like you can tell it doesn't mean anything. It's just like, we're gonna go over there. We're gonna win. Are we gonna win? It's all that kind of
pacing, manic.
Yeah. But they did win. It was good. Ross, first question for you: did they deserve to win?
With our big Indian contingent, I would be like, no, there was a disgrace that they ended up winning. But I think when it comes to India versus Pakistan matches at the best of times, India normally have had the rub of the green. And when it comes to
controversial,
but it is true. T20 cricket.
Hold on, just want to be clear. Ross is talking in his capacity as Ross here, and not a representative.
All views are my own.
Hey, I'm just saying, over the course of the India versus Pakistan history, in terms of the cricket games that have been played, India have typically come out on top, and they've typically had a little bit of favouritism, I think, in some of those areas. So bring it on in the YouTube comments. Bring it on. Bring it on Twitter.
Can you just give me that fade, Ross.
Yeah, that's fine.
Wherever you are on the screen in relation to me, up, down, right, I don't know.
But I think here, again, T20 is such a high variance game that something like this could happen, and India here not probably playing their best 11, and Pakistan managing to kind of come out on top in terms of the kind of hitting down the lower middle order, which proved to be the difference here.
I mean that effectively was the difference, wasn't it? They just teed off a bit. I saw Dan Weston put out a tweet that immediately loads of people disagreed with. Pakistan boundary count hit 3 more boundaries, took them 1 less ball to do it. We all know the stats on boundary count in T20 cricket. I think particularly in these high-scoring matches, you can get away with it if it's 130 aside, running more twos. But when you need 9 and over, 4s and 6s really do matter. And I think you're right, Ross. There's a few talking points we can get into. Max, I'm going to give you the call here. We can talk about the cricket first, or we can talk about the controversy first.
Oh, let's do. Look, we had a nice chat about this in the preview. It's set this up quite nicely. Let's start with the cricket, and then we'll save the best bit for the end.
Okay, right. So some cricket things that I think stood out to me. One, Nawaz and Ross. I think this really leads on from your high variance point. I don't think anyone could have seen Mohammad Nawaz coming in at number 4 as the maybe the deciding factor in this match. What was it? 40 off 20 balls. The guy in domestic cricket in his career averages 23 at a strike rate of 127. So he's come up against a pretty good India team. They mix up their team a little bit, but a pretty good bowling attack. And he's plundered them. There's a bit of evidence for this. I mean, he's got a decent 6-4 ratio. He's been better in recent years. He's not somebody who he's had a few years where he struck at 140. But real turn up for the books for him, wasn't it? And I deserved, you might not want to say that Pakistan deserved to win, but I think Nawaz deserved to win man of the match, right?
Yeah, I certainly think so. And sometimes you do just have to chance your arm, right? And I think what we've seen from this Pakistan team is that they want to build around a really strong foundation with Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan at the top, and then just see, again, they are a lottery team. But we know this. Like ever since we started this podcast, it is flip a coin. What's going to happen today? And Nawaz flipped it on heads, and he decided, you know what, I'm going to turn on the style. And he did really well.
Max, the tale of the two kind of all-rounders then is completed with Hardik Pandya. And it's quite interesting in the first match. And I really like variance as a theme for this podcast, or for this section of the podcast. First match, Nawaz bowls the final over. He gets Jadeja bowled, and then Hardik just ends the game. And Hardik afterwards is like, could have been 15 runs, it wouldn't have made a difference. In this match, Hardik, the way he bowled in the first match was really, really good. Lots of short deliveries, caused Pakistan a lot of problems. I don't know if Pakistan did their homework or prepared, or whether Hardik was just a bit unlucky. I think a couple of edges flew over the keeper. He got plundered with the ball, picked up just 1 wicket, and got a 2-ball duck. It's a harsh game, isn't it?
It's a game of failures, as they say, and as I know all too well this season. But I mean, Hardik Pandya has had an unbelievable year with bat, with ball, team wise,
with captaincy.
It's been a bumper year for him. So, in the interests of reverting to the mean, even though Hardik Pandya's mean is quite high in all things that he does because he's a quality cricketer, he is going to have days where it doesn't go well. And I think that was probably just a case of things coming together nicely, with Mohammad Nawaz being sent out to go and batter the ball everywhere. And, maybe it was a slightly better batting pitch as well in this case, because in that first game, there was some juice in there, wasn't it? That kind of helped out Hardik's approach. And maybe this just sat up a little bit more, because we saw quite a few, quite a few short balls get put away sort of from both sides. So I think maybe that contributed as well. But it's fine. He'll come back. He'll be all right. He'll win the World Cup.
Yeah. The other talking point that I had from a cricketing point of view was, I suppose there's two things. It was India's batting in general. 3A, if you like, Virat Kohli. 3B, Rishabh Pant back into the team. They've got rid of Dinesh Karthik. Ross, you can take your pick of those two, and then guess me and Max will talk about the other one. What took your fancy?
Yeah, I'll probably try and end up taking both the way I can rattle on. But I think what I found really interesting was Kohli coming out, and it was after the game, saying that he deliberately batted with more intent. He was striking at 136. Like, what the fucking hell is he doing every other part of the innings he's going in? Like, in T20 cricket, your whole idea is to go out batting with more intent, with more speed.
He did slow down, though, to be fair. Like, he was going a lot quicker than 1-3. Well, not, he was going a bit quicker, the 136 to start with. And I think once I think he was sort of at 52 or 34 or something. So, he ended up then scoring like 8 off his last 10 balls, which is the exact opposite of how you finish a game of T20 cricket. But
it is. And
I think the intent point is probably fair.
I just sometimes think that I think we get snippets from interviews and things like that, which I'm just not sure are quite right or what they quite mean. We've heard KL Rahul in the past come out and say that strike rate isn't important, and we've been told that KL Rahul does not believe that, contrary to all the evidence that exists. And Kohli sitting here doing this. Like, Kohli typically finishes really strongly, right? In the back end of an innings, there's not too many people who have got better statistics than Kohli does when he is in this kind of innings. So it was quite a surprise to see him fall off the cliff like that.
Yeah, it was a little bit. It was a good run out from Asif Ali, wasn't it? That's another area where maybe there's a little bit of luck that when Pakistan direct hit run out from quite a long way away.
Especially compared to the rest of the fielding for the day.
Yeah, a lot of people really raved about this Kohli innings. Went quite overboard about it.
Innings of a lifetime.
Well, not quite innings of a lifetime, but there's a lot of Kohli's back. He's the greatest T20 batter of all time. I saw people describing him as this proves he's the backbone of the India T20 side. And I look at it and I am thinking slightly more critically, 60 or 44 is a good innings, but I don't know if that means you're the backbone of the India side. I think that's about average, to be honest. I think it is. It's a positive. Well, maybe it's not about average. I think it's a positive contribution to the team, but was, as everything is with Virat, slightly hyped up. I think it had some elements of good batting and some elements of his limitations. He didn't get 75, which would have been a really good innings. I think
there's context to it, though, isn't there, with the year he's had and how sort of out of sorts he's looked for most of the year. He looked a bit more like Virat Kohli in this game, didn't he? There was some much more Kohli-esque shots. He was batting with more confidence from how it looked, at least. So I think people are desperate, aren't they, to try and push the narrative that he's back and that he shouldn't be dropped because of the player that he is and the year that he's had. So I can kind of understand it in a way, although I do agree with you that it was a good innings, but another 10 and the game's won.
Yeah, well, probably another 5.
Yeah.
The other change, or the other thing about India's batting is obviously that they make a couple of changes. One of them's enforced. Deepak Huda has to come in for Jadeja. Huda had never lost playing for India going into this match, so
why not bat him at number 8?
We've picked him. We must win. Like, why use him? And then Rishabh Pant back in for Dinesh Karthik, who I'm not really sure, has done anything on or wrong, or I also am not really sure why.
So it's the left-handed.
That's the wrong way around.
Yeah, it's the left-handed.
Yeah. No Jadeja. That's got to be
that
it.
is what it is. Yeah, sorry. That's very obvious when you put it like that. 14 off 12, and he got out reverse, playing the reverse, whatever it is, like the shot that he genuinely cannot play.
Yeah, and it was clearly premeditated because you could not play that shot to that ball. It was a wide down the leg side. What's he doing?
And hits it straight to point. Question marks again. I mean, when Jadeja comes back in, Ross, are you binning him?
Well, you say Jadeja's coming in. They think he's out for the World Cup, so they think he's
knee surgery.
He's going to have knee surgery. He's going to be out for the World Cup. So there's a massive question there because Pant hasn't done it for India. Really, like he's been amazing in Test match cricket. It's been good in ODI cricket. T20 internationals, not quite the pant that we're aware of.
His T20 international strike rate is like 1-2-3.
Yeah,
that's bad. It's completely different from his domestic form. It's quite confusing. I don't know what there is to it, but I do wonder whether you have to rest him, and I don't know.
He has played an awful lot of cricket, but yeah, Kishan would be the person, the other left-hander you'd kind of typically expect. I don't think they're going to bring Shikhar Dhawan back into the T20 lineup anytime soon. So you'd probably go for the 1.5 million pound man in Ishan Kishan.
Yeah, I think that could be a tricky call for India, to be honest. I think that's potentially a little bit of a spanner in the works. And that's their batting. Pakistan, we should probably, before we talk about the controversies, dole out some more credit. We did Nawaz. Asif Ali was pretty impressive as well, 16 off 8. And I wanted to talk about an interesting stat, sort of that you could apply to this game. I don't know if you ever go on Crickmetric and look at the game reviews that they do. Not game reviews, like there's just a statistical breakdown. Asif Ali's 16 off 8 balls had a 40% impact on the outcome of the match, which is insane, isn't it? I mean, that's like the archetypal. Some of these two ball innings that only last 10 ball have a huge value, like have huge value for your team. This was like the archetypal version of that. He added 40% of a chance of a win to Pakistan's total in 8 balls. Now there's some flaws to that stat, obviously. Like it's very, very contextual. Like if you hit a 6 when you need 5 to win off the last ball of a match, it looks like you've added 100% to the chances of winning, or 95% or whatever it is. But it did really highlight, I think, how good he was in quite a critical situation. Was there anyone else? I mean, Rizwan 71 off 51.
So Jack, just on that bit, it was quite interesting that somebody posted up a screenshot of the overall match scorecard that comes up on the screen.
Yeah.
So you got Virat Kohli with his 66 or whatever it was, and all this kind of stuff. And there's a question mark saying that Asif Ali's innings actually doesn't get highlighted on that. So if a layman comes and looks at the game, actually they'd be like, well, everyone else didn't do very well because they're not highlighted as the key performers. And actually now the formats have changed. Is it actually time to change actually how things are portrayed on screen in the head-up displays? And I thought it was actually quite a nice challenge. And I think we talk about it quite a lot on the Discord, on our WhatsApp group, that the coverage of cricket is such a long way to go, and there is so much potential there to make it a little bit more accessible for fans.
Yeah, I mean, it's to follow through on that point. Win percentage added, which is what Asif Ali did, added 40% chance for a win, isn't the stat I would use. I'd use runs above average or something like that. But it was still a hugely high impact innings, and he'll be able to dine out on that for a little.
He's
while.
doing after dinner speeches. He's probably going to have a run at the presidency for that.
One final stat. Then we've got some. We'll do the controversy. Then we've got some questions. This is the highest number of runs scored in a T20 match where every single bowler took a wicket.
Very good. That's very Andy Zaltzman, Andrew Sampson. That's very TMS stat.
Well, I thought we'd do like the actually interesting stat that tells you more about cricket, and then just say some nonsense.
Yeah,
it's just basically this freakish thing happened once. So there's that. Right, let's. We've got two big moments of controversy. Let's do Arshdeep first. Mm-hmm. Now, Ross, are you in camp the turning point, or are you in camp not the turning point?
I'll go not the turning point.
Okay, can you please explain yourself?
Because like, dropping catches happens all the time. Like there's sometimes there are essential bits where you have dropped the World Cup and there's been pieces there, but it's quite easy to sit and be rinsed by the armchair brigade, who's having a bit of a go at you, who were up until like the last ball still going to go at Fakar for dropping it in the Pakistan innings. So in the India innings rather. The dude's gone for 7 and over in the biggest game in the world, where all the other pacers are going at +9 and over. Like, he's done his job. Like, they haven't lost it based upon that catch. They've lost it because of the underperformance in their other bowlers.
Max, you're there for team turning point.
Turning point.
Yeah.
Well,
weren't you on that game show? Was it Turning Point?
Down.
What's happened is
Tipping
Arshdeep
Point is what I was thinking of.
Arshdeep Singh has dropped a catch that is. Arshdeep Singh has dropped a catch that is on the same level as Joe Denley in the penultimate over of a game that's ended up then going for 19 runs when it could have been taking the wicket of the man who ended the game.
It was pre-penultimate.
Sorry, yeah. It led into the penultimate over that ended up going for 19 runs.
Before the penultimate over.
Which wouldn't have happened. The anti-penultimate over is what that's called. Anyway, he's dropped the ball. It was one of the worst drops I've ever seen. And it's ended up costing Bhuvi 19 runs and probably cost India the game. I think if that catch is taken, I don't think Pakistan chase it down. And I think Arshdeep will have to do some catching practice of balls that are very slowly dropped from above him in the dark.
Right, here's what I think. I am on team turning point overall. I think it is very clearly the moment at which the game should have been wrapped up for India. If he catches that, then Asif Ali, who was on 1 of 2 balls, would not have added the 40% win value to Pakistan. Like, he would have been in the sheds. Arshdeep would have, taken the catch. India at that point had a 65% chance of winning. If Asif Ali walks off, it's probably an 85% chance of winning. He has to bowl the final over. Everyone is a hero. Having said that, if you're a Twitter warrior moaning about Arshdeep Singh dropping that catch as though like it's the very worst thing that's ever happened in cricket, you also fundamentally don't understand how the game works. Like, T20 is a game of fine margins. It's a game of variance. It is a game of taking those moments. But the way you get to those moments is, Ross, as you said, bowling your 4 overs for 28 and like being excellent at cricket.
Yeah.
It isn't by like, just hoping for the best and then hoping a catch comes from the sky and that you take it. That is not how the game works. You have to manufacture those things. And equally culpable here as well is Bhuvi. Bhuvi goes into that final over even after the drop. Bishnoi carries on. He bowls a pretty good over.
Yeah, they still needed about 13 and over, didn't they, after the last 2? At least 27 off 2.
I think it was 26 off 2. Yeah, 27 off 2. Bhuvi just has to bowl an over that goes for 10. Or 12 or 13 probably. And I reckon Arshdeep finishes it off. They probably at that point, India had a 60% chance of winning, maybe even higher. And they didn't. So I think to blame, I think to blame Arshdeep.
Yeah, you can't blame Arshdeep for the entire thing.
Yeah.
But had he caught it, they would have won.
That was the pivotal moment.
Yeah.
So that's where I come down.
And I hope he bounces back because he is a wonderful cricketer, very useful, very, very useful at the death. Not bad in the power play as well. And let's hope it doesn't get to him too much because we want to see more Arshdeep.
I think, I think the sad thing for him is that obviously that clip will live forever.
He needs to delete Twitter. That's the sad.
Maybe he can buy it as a non-fungible token and own it and then just put it away somewhere.
Is that how it works? I'm
not sure that's how it works. But,
it is.
If I was selling a non-fungible token of that's how I would sell it to him.
It's like scoring the worst own goal of in the history of football against Germany in the semi-final. Like it's the worst thing that he could have done. But it happens.
It wasn't the World Cup final. It could be worse.
Yeah, it could have been like Hassan Ali dropping it in the World Cup, couldn't he? That was bad.
Yeah. Right. We had a question on the other controversial point, and then we'll do the rest of the questions. We've got about 4 or 5. So quick answers, please. Here is a question, says Panvel, which is a good start to any question. It's really getting your point over.
It sets the stall.
It does.
You know what's coming.
And also, it's what I like.
I hope it's a statement now. That'd be great.
A lot of the questions we get, people don't bother with the punctuation. It's punctuated nicely. Here is a question. It's allowed time for me to breathe, make this comment, create hopefully an entertaining show before the actual question comes. And here is the question. What constitutes a spike on Ultra Edge? And also, will the ICC get this corrected before the T20 World Cup? So this pertains to Asif Ali again being not caught behind by the judgment of the third umpire as part of a DRS review in that same over where Arshdeep drops the ball. Now, we've actually been talking about this in our WhatsApp group, and we've had the still up. I don't think there is enough evidence that he hit the ball. I am giving that not out.
I think you have to consider the fact that the umpire gave it not out. So you can't be 100% sure that was definitely out. Now, I think it probably was. I think what's happened is that Ultra Edge has been poorly calibrated.
Have you got the right spectacles on?
I reckon no. I'm not saying it should have been given out. All I'm saying is I reckon there's a chance that it actually was out and that Ultra Ed's not been set up properly, and it's like not picked it up because like normally you see a bit of noise right at that level of the spike that comes through, and then you see a bigger spike. But when there was nothing before that, it was completely flat, and I don't think you often see it completely flat. So I think there's a chance that it could have actually been out, and Ultra Edge wasn't set up properly, but you cannot give that out at all.
Can of worms, you fucking opened it right now, Max.
Yeah, well, why not?
Completely banjax his whole thing.
No, you can't give it.
Definition. That was the definition of rumblings. Everyone knows you get rumblings when it's very close. It's not out.
Yeah,
Ross, what do you think?
I actually can't believe I've just listened to. Like, it's just clearly not out. Like, Max is going down the conspiracy rabbit hole of.
I'm not saying anything was done deliberately.
Some of cricket Twitter's got the best of Max's brain.
I'm just saying it's possible that it was out and it didn't come through properly, but you can't possibly give it out based on what was there.
Yeah, I also agree with your sentiment, right? DRS is not there to give absolutely everything out. It's there to.
It's not like VAR.
It's there to also summed incorrectly. It's there to overturn shockers. That's the fundamental reason why it's there. Sometimes people use it for their advantage, sure, but on this occasion, you cannot be sitting there going, "We unfairly lost this game because that wasn't given out." That is a bonkers way of seeing that.
Okay, there you go, Panvel. Sabir says, who should India pick for the World Cup, Arshdeep or Harshal? I'm in team Arshdeep now, I think. Yeah. It's close.
No,
what? No, change
Arshdeep can't bat.
Yeah, I'm going Harshal because he's quite useful at number 8 or 9.
Arshdeep's good. But,
can you have both?
Tricky, I think.
You could.
You have to drop a spinner or bowl.
Bumrah. Don't need Bumrah.
It's in Australia. It's in Australia. Maybe 2 spinners won't be the way to go in Australia.
Yeah, but they've only got 1 spinner, haven't they?
No, if they play Hooder.
I think we cleared that one up.
Not out.
Why are the Indian bowlers so bad in the Asia Cup? There's some more stuff there, but I don't think they've been that bad. I don't know.
This is where I probably have a bit of an issue with all cricket fans at the moment. In that after every T20 game, people are calling for people to be dropped. It's been 1 game, and in the most high variance game we've got, format we've got, and I think it's a bit harsh to be saying that, especially as India had already won both their previous games.
I think I agree with that. And then finally, we've got a few from Mahesh Babu. We've got 3. So 1, 2, or 3, Max. We're only going to answer one of them because we've gone over on this
3
part of the show. 3. I think India should have promoted Pant before Virat or Sky. Virat's entry point was his worst possible in the 6th over. Had to face 4 overs of spin in a row. What do you think? Now that's quite an intelligent question, Ross. I can see you've got your I respect that face on. What do you?
I'm playing that with a straight bat.
What's your answer?
Me or Max?
You.
You were nodding.
You're the only one called Ross here.
Oh, sorry. I thought you originally asked Max and then went to me because I was doing some funny faces. No, that's not a bad sentiment. But if you look in the rest of the game, perhaps that anchor innings from Virat Kohli was the reason they got up to 180, and unfortunately the rest didn't kind of work out. I mean, if I'm there, Kohli's not even in the team, so yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the flip side to that is if you do promote Pant and he bats for, like, say, 5 overs, you then got Virat Kohli coming in after like the 10th or 11th, and that's probably worse.
Yeah, that's true. Too many anchors. I don't think this is right. I'm not sure Pant is offering you anything new if you're India, apart from he's doing it from the other side of the crease.
Yeah. Where's my boy Sanju?
We need to do some messages because we didn't do that at the top of the show, and then we're going to take a break. So Ross, you do the first half of the messages, and then Max, you do the show sponsor.
Okay, that sounds good. We are on Twitter and Instagram, which you can find us at The Cricket Pod. So go and follow us on there. Subscribe on all your podcast platforms, as well as YouTube if you're watching us on there. And also you can sign up for our Patreon, which is Patreon/The Cricket Pod.
Max?
Lovely. And yes, this show is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming, the right tools for your family jewels. And you can get 20% off with the code CricketPod. It's in the show notes. It's on the screen around me. Go over there, get some money off your ball shavers, your deodorant, your boxers, your T-shirts. I actually, because we got like the package. They sent that to us, Performance Package 4.0. And along with that, we got T-shirts, Manscaped T-shirts.
Yes.
And they only had at the time extra large in stock, which has
You've been eating some cheeseburgers,
proven to be really, really nice as a hangover T-shirt. I was wearing that yesterday. I was very comfortable.
Very good. Yeah.
So head over there, 20% off. Cricket Pod.
See, I thought this when I got the T-shirt. I was like, that is a smooth cotton, but it has got like Manscaped on it.
Oh, I'm not wearing it outside.
Yeah, it does make it.
I'm not wearing it outside.
Large. Ross, here's a question for you.
Yep.
When you were a single man,
yep,
do you felt like your performance, and I'm not talking about the Performance Package 4.0.
All right.
I'm talking about your. Do you reckon do you have more confidence in your performance when you were sorted out down there?
Oh, I'm a confidence player, Jack. Of course. If you ever played any kind of sport with me, you know I'm a confidence player. So it's 100% yes.
Yeah. Batting average was much higher. So there you go. There's the proof. CricketPod at manscaped.com for 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Let's have a break.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.